led you to become interested in studying naturopathic medicine?
It was definitely when I was in university. I had probably since high school planned on going to medical school of some kind. Like, it was always my goal and dream, but there was a fair at our university where medical schools had booths set up. And I remember there was a little one for CCNM.
Yeah.
I went by and I saw it. And I wasn't sure if I was interested. I grabbed a pamphlet and just kind of took that and went home. But then I applied to medical school and didn't get in the first time and was waitlisted for another school. And so I waited that out and then realized I needed to start making plans for what I should do in the upcoming year if I didn't get in.
Yeah.
And at the time I was dating someone who lived in Toronto, so I was looking at options in Toronto because I'm from St. Catharines. So
Okay, that's quite a while away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I thought either I'll do my master's in biomedical sciences or I'll come to CCNM and try it out. But I actually didn't pick either of those. I went to work for a naturopath downtown.
Okay.
I just called them one day. I Googled naturopathic doctors Toronto and their clinic came up first, so I called them. It was the Integrative Health Institute down at King and Shepherd.
Okay.
Sherbourne, sorry.
Okay.
And anyways, I actually got the job and I worked for them for a year and I got to see what naturopathic medicine is all about. It was a huge team of medical doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors, an osteopath, and I really got a taste of everything, and I decided that spring I was going to apply to CCNM. And then I got here, and I think every year of being in the program I fell in love with it more.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome how it worked out.
Yeah, it just kind of all fell into place, and now I would never go back. I'm so glad.
Yeah, that's awesome. What then led you to become interested in becoming a resident?
When I was in first year, I found out that this was a possibility, and because I'm a giant nerd and kind of obsessed with school, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a cool option for later when I still want to be here, but then I kind of forgot about it until fourth year. And I kind of just like casually had it as a background option. I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but then by the end of fourth year, I realized I hadn't fully... The things I thought I was going to focus in on, I didn't want anymore, and then I realized I didn't really know where I was going to go. All I knew was that I loved CCNM and I loved the atmosphere here, and I didn't actually just want to leave. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to apply. But I never thought that I would actually be a resident. I just thought it would be an option I'd apply and we'll see. But here I am.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Once again, things just kind of falling into place.
Yeah, and then again, being in this position, I look back and it's like, okay, of course. But it wasn't something that I planned on every month of the year leading up to it.
Yeah. What were you hoping to learn from embarking on the residency program? So was there anything you were going into it hoping to do, or like you're like, okay, I want to go in and this is really what I want to get out of it? Did you have any things that you were going in really hoping to learn from it?
Yeah, definitely. I really wanted to refine my skills and just really get better at certain things. So I felt like I had a good base level knowledge of Asian medicine and botanical medicine and MNIPS, although actually I was really bad at that. And I just wanted more experience with patients, with mentors. I wanted to still learn from everybody here. And my biggest thing was that I really developed an interest in fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, and through a friend who was on the shift. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm in the residency program, then I can be part of everything, but I could also potentially get on the fibromyalgia shift and have Dr. McCrindle as my mentor.
Yeah.
And that has been by far the best thing about this program.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Like, why has that been such a great experience for you? Like, there's other reasons, but like, why is that like a really big
one?
Yeah.
I think it was just that for me, it was a whole new set of patients that I hadn't seen before. It kind of, after 4 years of school and then NPLEX and a lot of really complicated life issues that came up, I had lost a bit of my passion and kind of my drive to learn more and to be here. And then when I got onto that shift is when I really realized, okay, this is what I meant to do again. Like I had that spark to want to be here and to not question naturopathic medicine or really question what, like the choices I made. It was kind of that feeling of, okay, now I know. And being able to have a mentor is really important, because instead of being an intern, I get to just, you learn, but you also practice being a supervisor, but you learn from someone who is, and just everything about the way that shift is run and the way Dr. McCrindle practices is kind of exactly what I want. So I sat there at first just writing everything she said. Like I have a black book full of just things I learned on that shift. And I learned on lots of other shifts too. My mentors have been Dr. Prosky and Dr. Grattan and Dr. Tabruga at Sherborne, and all of them taught me so much as well. And it's been just, I think that was what I really loved, like getting to see a supervisor in action and how they are with patients and all the things they know, and getting to ask them questions every day about where they research their information, or kind of like day-to-day things that you don't really ask when you're an intern because you don't fully know yet.
Yeah.
I feel like I've made friends too. Like they're my friends now. At least I think. That's what I think.
Oh yeah, because you guys are close now, like in that colleague relationship.
Yeah. That's a huge thing that changes too. Like you go from being a student here to colleagues with everyone, and there's a really high level of respect that all of the profs here have for the residents, and it was so nice. It felt really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. What are your responsibilities as a resident?
Okay, there's actually quite a few. So we learn how to supervise. So you start off in a mentoring role for the fall term, and then you take over and you start supervising your own shift once the year comes through. So in the May portion of the first year of residency, that's a whole thing in itself. You have to learn how you're the doctor now on the shift, and you need to learn how to be someone who can teach but who also doesn't give too much, because it's a learning opportunity for everyone. You're also seeing patients who are kind of your patients, but they're also not, because they're the intern's patients. So it's a really big switch from when you were an intern. It took a lot of getting used to. I'm still getting used to it. But then on the other side, there's more of an academic portion. So I've TA'd a lot, and I'll still be doing that this year. So you TA everything from primary care to Asian medicine or MNIP. They at first, when you get the position, they'll interview you and ask you kind of your strengths and weaknesses. So for me, my weakness was anything that had to do with manipulation, and they made me TA that so that I would learn it
and get
better,
stronger.
and I really did. So now I can teach it to students and with confidence, and it's really helped me feel good about that part. And then you can also TA stuff that you feel strongly in. So for me, that was Asian medicine, and I was given that as well, and so it just felt really good. It was nice, like a well-rounded year of TAing and supervising, and you also have an opportunity to spend the year at a satellite clinic. So that was so amazing. Like that also was one of the best parts of this program. I didn't get as much of an opportunity to do that when I was an intern. I didn't have a satellite, so going there and just seeing how that type of clinic is run, and being able to just practice supervising right away with another supervisor at that clinic was just really fun, and it felt safe because you weren't all by yourself. We also do research, so I'm working on that part of the project right now. You have the 2 years to finish a research project, so that's another portion, and then you still learn. So right now, Jasmine and Dr. Vu have actually set up weeks where when we're TAing a bit less, so when there's an exam period or in the summer, they'll have experts come in and teach us about different botanical medicine or acupuncture techniques.
That's really cool.
They have resident learning sessions where we all teach each other things we've learned. So it's really great. I feel like I've made more friends, and I've become more well-rounded.
Currently, what is your main, do you have a main impact that you're trying to fulfill as in your role as a resident? And then the question is, how are you doing that? So And that could also evolve. Like, did you come into the residency program thinking, I really want to have this kind of impact? And if so, how have you gone about it?
Like an impact on the students, maybe?
Yeah, like I put impact, but like learning that there's different realms of it. Like there's the aspect of interacting with students, but there's also other background things going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the main thing would be the student aspect, but if there's anything else that you're feeling like I really wanted to really make sure that I like to have a focus on this type of thing, or I really want to have a. Was that clear? Did I just
that was clear.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think for me, I spent 4 years, like there were really hard times, but most of it I just loved the whole way through. Like I don't know, I had such a sense of community and support, but also just excitement and learning everything. That I wanted to make sure that I could kind of pass that on to other students. Just give them an opportunity, either whether it was something I could teach them or just as a mentor for students to be able to come to, so that they could really see how great CCNM can be. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's easy when you get stressed and things go wrong to have a really negative thoughts about the school or the program or whatever, and I heard it from some of my friends, and I really didn't feel that way, and it's something I wanted to be able to just help the students with. So if they could maybe see, like, I finished the program and got through it, so you can too. And I wanted to be someone that the students that I teach can come talk to if ever they have problems, because I feel like I'm pretty real about it. I mean, I know that I'm saying how exciting it is, but there were really hard moments too, and I'm not going to pretend there weren't. And I also just love, I love that feeling when you finally understand a concept. So whether it was understanding the cervical manips or really how 5-element theory works in Asian medicine or anything with like pathophysiology, I love it so much. And that moment where, like, when I was with some of my roommates when we'd be studying and I would teach them something and then they'd be like, oh, now I get it. I wanted to be able to help more people do that. Because just it's something that I've always loved doing, and I was a teacher for dance and a TA all through university.
Awesome. Yeah.
And my parents are also professors, so it's probably part of who I am. Mm-hmm. I just really enjoy it. And that's something I thought when I first applied for the residency program, I thought to myself, okay, I want to be in clinic and I want to be a supervisor, but I definitely don't really know if I want to teach. Like, and it's actually been my favorite part. Yeah, it's so weird how that happens. And MNIPs are like my favorite class, and that was my worst thing. So it like really helps. That was something that I felt this need to, like, I really loved watching students understand something, so it became fun to find ways to show them how. And something for me was that I really struggle with, perhaps it's confidence, but also just being assertive. And I knew that this would be difficult for me because there's times where you need to be able to have both of you need both of those as an ND, but also as a resident. And this program has really helped me. Just even this year, how I've noticed a change within myself and in the other residents that I'm friends with. But and so I'm really grateful for that. I feel like whenever there's a struggle in your life, you always grow a lot from it after, and it's easy to see. And
that's true.
Like, all of CCNM was that for me, but it was also really great. And the residency program too, there's moments where you feel a little bit overwhelmed with how many hours you've spent here, or having to learn how to evaluate a student doing a specific exam when, like, you're nervous yourself almost. There's times where the pressure gets really high, and that part of it allowed me to grow, but it was really difficult, and I had some anxiety and moments where I was just really tired. But there's other moments that were just so fulfilling and exciting, or where I've really made strong connections with other colleagues, or I've seen how teaching the students has really helped them love a certain topic, and that makes it really worth it for me.
How has being both a student in the program before, and a teacher now, like as a practitioner, but also, as a TA in the residency program. So how has being a student and teacher of naturopathic medicine affected your life?
As a student, it was exciting because I felt like eventually I'm going to become this thing. Like, it was this light at the end of the tunnel, like, one day I'm going to be a doctor. And I just held on to that. And I was so excited because I've wanted it for so long, since like probably grade 9. And then it just kind of got me through. And I think then when I finally became a doctor, it's still even hard for me to say. I was like, oh, okay, so it's done. Like, really? And or someone at first, they were like, Dr. Irons, I didn't even turn around. Because I was like, is that me? Like, it just hasn't fully set in. It's starting to now. It's taken a year. But I don't know, the student life has really been all of my 20s, even since I was a teenager. And so I'm finally done, and it feels really good. Like, I have less stress in my life, I think, now. There was moments, just with all the exams and having to just decide over getting a really good mark on this exam or seeing my family this weekend, and just those really started to get tiring. And I think NCLEX was like the final thing. Like, after that, I didn't want to be a student anymore. And I think that's why I felt like my passion went down, because you still have to be a student when you're an ND. Like, every day a student asks me a question that I need to be able to want to look up more. Because it's easy to just not care and not put anything into this, but I would never want to be that person. So I'm still like, even when you came in, I was reading up on things I want to teach them later that I don't fully know of yet. So, but then becoming a doctor is just like, I finally reached this thing that I've been working for, and so now I feel like I need to pick something new, because that's all I know how to do. But I feel really proud about what I do and who I am, and I think being at this school and seeing the students and knowing that I'm at this other side of it now, it really gave me a lot more confidence in myself. Like, I just finally felt more fulfilled in who I am. I just feel really happy. It's the truth.
That Pharrell song popped into my
head. You can blast that right now. Like, no, I really do. It feels really good to finally get there. Like, as I'm sure all the people watching and you will as well, it's such a good feeling. And the residency just makes it feel even better, because instead of being thrown right out there and just kind of having to figure everything out on your own, I've literally been just kind of like helped. I'm still surrounded by people who I could talk to and ask questions every day, and they've just made it a really nice, smooth transition.
What do you feel can be gained from participating in the residency programs?
New perspectives is a huge one. I felt like as an intern I had ideas of what I thought I believed in and what I liked and what I didn't, and like a way I would approach a specific condition, or lab tests I thought were valid and ones that I didn't. And it's interesting that I had that opinion when I was just in 4th year, but like, how you just have these ideas, and then I could have easily graduated and maintained that, but when I was in the program this year, I had mentors who just thought very differently than I did, and it allowed me to open up my mind again and to really like ask them more questions, understand why they run certain tests or the validity behind them, or why they don't prescribe something for a particular condition. And it just really allowed me to like exponentially increase my knowledge around lots of different things. And it was a safe way to be able to relearn things, like go back and actually research why I had this idea in the first place, and then I could still ask questions because I saw everybody every day. So I've seen these naturopaths every day, and I could continue to learn from them. So that was big, and definitely so that, but also my skills have improved. So whether it's just acupuncture, confidence in my skills, knowing more about TCM theory, little things like you learn it, then you do NCLEX, and then I have to teach it, so I need to learn it again. And then being able to, once you have that knowledge, you can even ask more questions and take it even further. So I think I've just developed more of an understanding of what I do, and way more confidence in what we do, and just way more experience. So again, with like teaching gynaes or DREs or seeing lots and lots of patients, I've been able to just see more of what I got a little tiny bit of as an intern. I feel more confident in what I can do, and based on now the more people that I've seen.
Yeah. How do you feel you are involved in the field of health?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I think a lot of residents at this stage, so they're already 1 year in, have started their practice, and they're NDs with a clinic on the side, and they're also residents, and whether they're starting up a clinic and they're more on the business side of things, or they're working as associates. But that's something I'm still working on, because I feel like I didn't want to jump into something right away. There was clinics I was going to apply to, but then I waited, and I've actually made connections with people here, and I think that I'm going to take my time and see what comes of all of that first. And so mainly as a naturopath, I am a resident. Like, that's pretty much my daily job. So I am a TA, I teach some seminars, and I'm a supervisor here. And outside of it, it's pretty much like I'm the ND to anyone my family meets, and it follows you everywhere you go. I was in the sauna yesterday with my mom at the gym, and this woman came in and found out what I do and started asking me a whole bunch of questions, and I just feel like you never fully leave your job, because as much as you can't give health information to someone who's not a patient, it's really hard to not share just like general tips. And the minute someone finds out what you do, and I'm sure you've gotten this as well, they line up with questions. And, like, I've had my family sit there with pen and paper and line up at Christmas time just to talk to me. And it's just
That's so funny.
But yeah, and so far pretty much that.
Yeah. And then do you have like any hopes of what you will evolve into later? Like,
Definitely. I'm not a business person at all. So until that phase hits me, if it ever does, I feel like the drive within me to open up a clinic and just do that is not there. What I see for my future would be definitely to work as an associate in a clinic or two that really fit with who I am, with people that I love. And then because primarily I want to be a doctor, so I primarily want to see patients. That's been my goal all the way through, and it still is something that's very important to me. But I'm thinking of actually going to do my master's.
Oh wow!
I'm a perpetual student. It's becoming a problem.
Lifelong student.
Yeah, I think in my master's in something like pharmacology or in the biomedical sciences, just so that just to keep learning, but to also widen my scope of what I can do. And my hope would actually be to one day teach here and continue supervising, because I really love it a lot. But we'll see.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I guess one of the most important things is the passion too, because that's what the students feel, and then you can do the rest. Like, you can do like the learning of the knowledge and learning how to teach it, but the passion is like what being a student, like what I feel like the most is like the passion and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can always tell who your favorite teachers here were, because of how much you could tell they loved it and how good they were at being able to tell you what they wanted to teach. So it was just nice. I want to do that too.
Yeah. Awesome. What are some challenges that you feel people may face in the residency program?
I remember one time I was talking with another supervisor who was once a resident, and they told me that to be able to feel like to succeed as a resident, one of the skills you need is like to be, or not a skill, but to have really thick skin, to just be able to take a lot of critical feedback sometimes, or sometimes just not even critical, just like negative feedback, and to bounce back from it and not let it really affect you.
Okay.
And so far, I haven't had as much of that, but what I personally struggle with is just being able to, so one comment I've received was to not be everybody's friend, and to just, there's a role like you can be their friend, but you also have to be assertive, and you have to be either their supervisor or their TA, and you're evaluating them. So there's a fine balance between wanting everyone to succeed and just like trying so hard to help them, but also knowing when you, like, for example, if you have to fail a student, or if you have to give someone feedback based on something they did wrong, that was really hard for me, like very hard.
Yeah.
In the fall, I struggled with it a lot. I would sit there getting so nervous if I saw someone doing poorly on an OSCE or something, because I really just didn't want to have to fail them, even though we had to. Or now as a supervisor, it's just when my opinion is being questioned, or when I am having to defend a decision, that's difficult for me. But also just knowing how to basically resolve any conflict with students or with patients, that can be really difficult for me. It's hard for me to speak up sometimes when I can tell that the environment isn't as friendly, or if someone's struggling, and having to be their mentor means not always being their friend. And just being honest when you're writing a review. So it's so much easier to sit there and say, oh, they're such great students and everything is so great, but there's times when you can't say that, and I feel like for me that would be so hard to read, so I empathize so much that I struggle with it, but it's so much better when you learn to do it. And I'm learning, and it feels better, and it carries into other parts of your life as well. So just in daily life I struggle with that, and now I'm finding it easier to speak up for myself and to have like the assertiveness or confidence I need, and so that's been great.
So it's overlapped, and it's not just in this environment alone.
It's within my relationships, with roommates, or in like romantic relationships, or people in general, and with myself.
Oh, that's great. I'm curious to know about how you've been overcoming that challenge, like, you know, because being in the role where you have to do it is hard, but how have you actually like worked on that? Like,
I feel like because I want, so sometimes it feels really uncomfortable, and I can feel it in my body, but I force the words out anyways, because I know that it'll get easier once I start to speak. So that's something I've always done. I just kind of like force them out. It probably comes off really monotone, and like my face doesn't match what I'm saying, and then I used to do that a lot, and now I feel like it's just easier. And also too, because of this program, I've gained more confidence and respect for myself. When I'm in a situation where I know I need to own that, it's easier. And also too, like, so when it comes to giving a student feedback that might not be very positive, I know that there's a way you can do it that isn't going to be as harsh or as mean. So it's still feedback that doesn't feel the greatest to hear, but I can say it in a way that can be more helpful to them, maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Or it's an open, safe space, so even though I'm giving them, or I'm letting them know they failed, I feel like because it's me coming from me, it'll hopefully not feel as bad. Or I give them hope that, you know, this is what happened, but you still have options. So it's just, I think I've just found a way to do it that's a little bit better. I hope. I don't know, maybe students are like, no.
Hopefully they'll, like, you know, speak up on that, because like, as you're helping them to grow, like, that's a big part of it, and hopefully, you know, the same is reciprocated. And I think because I'm open to feedback to my, like, back. I hope that if I was doing something that was hurting someone's feelings, or if there was a situation where a student felt uncomfortable, or that I was being mean, like, they could just tell me too. So I feel good in that. I've always maintained that kind of open policy. That's awesome. Thank you so much for I know that was like off to the side, but thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate how honest, like, because this is like the real stuff, right?
It really is.
Our final question is, so it's a multiple part question. So it's, what are your words of wisdom? And so it's for multiple like groups of people. So first we have students of studying absolutely anything, because a lot of like what you've shared anyway is just good things to know for life, not just for like becoming a resident, but just life knowledge. So like, what are some words of wisdom you have for students studying absolutely anything? And then what are your words of wisdom for current naturopathic medical students? So whether they're at this school or at like another one of the naturopathic institutions. And then what words of wisdom for future students in naturopathic medicine? So people who might be looking up the program right now, or thinking about it, but it's not like, they're still kind of like not sure, but it's on their mind. And then anybody considering the residency program.
All right, so four different things.
And I'll preempt you, so I'll say each one. Okay, so first one, what are your words of wisdom for students studying just anything?
For me, I would say if you have a goal in mind, just follow through with it. It doesn't matter how long it takes you or how you're doing compared to everyone else, or if things get in the way, or even if it changes. Yeah. Just go with what you're feeling and follow that inner message, because no matter how hard a test is or how bad your week is going or year, eventually you can get through it if you have that inner desire to get to that place that you want to get to. And pick something that you really love. Don't focus on the big picture, because sometimes that becomes overwhelming, but if you find something that you love, everything else feels good. Yeah.
Future naturopathic
medicine.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
okay.
Considering it, or they're either not, like, they're still in the deciding process, or some of them might not even know that they're interested in it, but it's considering it.
Yeah. I would say keep an open mind, because sometimes you feel like you're going to go down one path in life and things change. Or you feel like you have a certain idea about the way things are and it's really wrong. And I felt like I wasn't too sure what naturopathic medicine was, and if I made this decision, then that was it. So it was such a big deal for me. But in reality, every day of your life you can change your mind. And chances are, though, if you get into this program, you probably won't. Just seeing how you can affect people on a day-to-day, just from being there in the room and listening to someone talk, or how your family members get so excited to ask you questions about cholesterol, or like teaching someone that adding lemon to your water can be helpful, or just drinking water is good for you, like little things. And it's really fulfilling career. And just ask questions and go and experience it. Like, I really felt like going and working for an ND was the best thing I could have done, because all the way through when school got hard or when I questioned myself, I remembered those moments. Or like emails I'd see from patients who just their life had changed, and it really helped. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And then and so now the last group is just anybody considering the residency program.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you you may have researched other residency programs.
I've kind of heard about the other ones, and but I know that they all seem great. Yeah. And all I can say is that no matter who I asked and what I read about the programs and how much I Googled about them, it didn't even come close to how good it really is now that I'm in it. And the reason why I wanted to do this video project was actually to be able to share with all the students that this is an amazing opportunity. Like, I have learned so much, and I almost didn't do this. Like, I almost didn't apply. I almost didn't take the job. I don't know why, but I was struggling with things, and then I just realized now, like, everything has come to be right here, and I'm so thankful. Like, I didn't really know if I grasped how good this program would actually be, and if it's something you're considering, I would say definitely follow through with that. It shocks me that I would think that every student would want this. Obviously, there's some people who just want to get out of CCM, but now that I've experienced it, I would recommend it to everyone. Like, it should be so competitive. It unfortunately is competitive, I'm sure, but might become more competitive if everybody listens to this. But it's a really good program. And if anyone ever has questions, they can come ask me anytime.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know that.